Nigerian, and I am actually welcoming you all on behalf of Donna Ritter, who's the director of ECSL, who was unable to join us today. But we're really happy to welcome you to this space. It's always been our intention since we started that we have it as a space for letting go and for processing everything and also for moving forward. So our theme today is looking back on everything that we've experienced this school year and looking forward to what's to come. And I want to give a special thanks to Kathy for all of her support on our Zoom centering conversations, and also to Johnny, who you're going to hear from soon, who is doing a lot of our centering aspects. And Donna always often likes to give a quote. Instead of a quote, I thought today I would share with you a book. That's something that's been fueling me, by Peter Reynolds, and I'll add it into our resources today on the shared doc. It's called I Am Human. And what I love most about this book is that the last page in the book has some exercises for loving kindness meditations. And it really resonated with me and to share with you today, because in all of our conversations that we've had, and I think we've had about maybe 5 or 6 as a community, is that we're all trying to figure out how to toggle between the wellness of ourselves and the wellness of our communities, because all of us are here because we're charged with the kind of the idea that we are going to be supporting and engaging with our communities, whether it's our school or out in the larger community. And it is a challenge to figure out how to balance our own wellness with the wellness of others. And this book does both of that. The loving kindness meditation offers you words that you can use to kind of center yourself, but then also think out to others and think about how to include them in your thoughts. So I recommend this book, both for yourselves, but also for your students. And so we're going to go through a lot of great resources today and just a lot of wonderful conversation. We have put in the very, very top of the chat box the shared document that we're going to be using today to help guide our conversations. So you can find that and click on it if you haven't had a chance to access it yet. We're going to start our process today with looking backwards. And Kathy is going to be sharing with us some ideas on reflection, and we'll be and she'll be sharing some slides with you as well while we go through this part of the day.
Great. And to get us started with reflection, we're going to turn it over to Johnny for a moment. We found that whenever we take time to come together, and I've been doing this in every kind of meeting I have, when I get together with my team of consultants, when I'm working with youth, we just take a moment first and just center, just take a moment to ground. Has anybody been running around a bit today? I'm just curious. Just give me a wave if you have. Maybe you haven't, but for me, I'm constantly jogging between many different aspects of my life. So we're asking Johnny to come forth and just give us a moment where we can just connect and take a moment to breathe. So Johnny, the screen is yours.
Thank you, Kathy. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Johnny Rogers. I'm the Director of Service Learning at Campbell Hall School in Los Angeles, where I also teach yoga as PE credit, where we do a lot of breathing and centering meditation and things of this nature. So if you would join me, hopefully you're in a comfortable seat already, but close your eyes and focus your attention on your posture and where the base of your spine connects to your seat. And take a deep breath into your belly through your nose. And on the exhale, just let yourself sink into your seat. Nice and grounded. Easy inhale through the nose. Again, bring your awareness to the base of your spine. Exhale all the energy down through the bottom of your body, becoming heavy in your seat. One more inhale through the nose. And exhale low into the belly. On your next inhale, bring the energy from the base of your body up your spine, through your shoulders and your neck up into your head, and allow your head to become light, as though somebody is very lightly pulling a thread at the top of your skull. And let go. Exhale through the mouth. Again, on the inhale, allow the energy to move up your spine, from the base all the way to the crown of your skull, becoming light. And exhale. Again, one more time. Bring the energy up with the inhale, lightening through the shoulders and the neck. And exhale. Finally, inhaling through the nose, bring your energy into the center of your body at your heart, the balancing point between your crown and the base of your spine. And exhale through the mouth, allowing the energy to diffuse all around you. Inhale, bring the energy into your center at your heart. Exhale, relax your entire body as you let the breath out. One final time into the heart center, filling your body with the breath. And when you're ready, exhaling slowly through the mouth, prolonging the exhale as much as you can. And when you're ready, blink your eyes open and join us back in the room.
Johnny, thank you. I think that's definitely pulled me into this space, and it's the first time I've really slowed down today, so I'm really grateful. So we're going to continue in this kind of zone, if I can say that, as we look at reflection for a moment. But before we do, I just wanted to pause and just acknowledge that today is June 19th, which I'm sure you all know. And as I was looking for some resources, I found a few really powerful articles about Juneteenth that I put in the shared document. And one of them is by Jamel Bowie from the New York Times. It was an opinion piece. And what was very powerful about the article is this one line. He talked about how neither Abraham Lincoln nor the Republican Party freed the slaves. They helped move some things in motion and they codified into law. But it's when you ask who freed the slaves freed the slaves. And I think this is a very important acknowledgement, and the emancipation of people, they can only do it themselves. And this article explains why. And there's so many great resources online now that explains what June 19th is. And it's already a state holiday in Texas, I learned. I have to verify that, but I saw that one of the articles. Johnny, you're nodding, so I'm assuming that's true. But they're trying to make it a national holiday also, and move that forward as the Emancipation Day for Black people, which is so critical and so important in our history. So I just want to take a moment there and just acknowledge that as we move into the reflection stage. Oh, I'm jumping around a little bit. So pardon, before we get to reflection, I wanted to give a follow-up to this group. A few sessions ago, I introduced this concept called documentar. And documentar, I developed with my colleagues who are part of my consulting team as a time capsule now for use. Before we talk about our own reflection, I wanted to show you what's happened in this documentar experience, which is a reflection portal for youth and what they're experiencing, first with the pandemic, and then with the uprising against systemic racism, and all the other aspects of the life that they're experiencing in the most unique time of their lives. It's unprecedented for us, but for young people, it's a major disruption for their development, their socialization, their education. So it's real important to give them a portal. And when I was looking at the landscape of what was available, it was very evident that the story of what was going on through the epidemic and other aspects of our life was all told from the adult perspective. But what is the perspective from youth? So I just wanted to share with you, I've explained this to some of you who've been on before, but what are the stories we're capturing for youth? I just wanted to share with you before we move on to your own time for reflection. So we offer 3 ways that youth can participate: just freestyle, open expression, a shortcut, take a photograph and share it and challenge others to do the same, or fill in the blanks where young people are asked to think about where are you now, how has your world changed, what worries you, and what keeps you strong. So these are some of the examples I pulled that come from around the globe. These are 2 examples of collage. They both focus on the quarantine. One is about the coronavirus, and this comes from China. And in the middle of it, it took me a while to notice this. It says, "We can get through it," in English and Chinese. And on the right, a young woman named Sylvie created a collage from images from the New Yorker magazine that she found online. This is an example of a photograph from a young person in Luanda, Angola. How they took a photograph and they added to it. And all the youth also submit a statement of why and what's the thinking or their verbal reflection to why they did this. Mark says this captures what his life is like, both socially and with education, and what his focus is on. The student in Korea really expressed what he worries about. He's graduating middle school, and as he looks to the future, he's very unsettled and very uncertain if he's prepared and what life will bring to him. And he expressed quite a bit of fear. So this is important for young people to have a place to share this, and for other young people and for adults to witness, care, and hold these stories. This is a before and after by Selena of what her life was before and after. These were both middle school youth who participated, both from China. This is a New York City youth. How can I focus on work when I constantly miss outside? This is something we're hearing as a constant refrain from young people. This is from a young person in Korea, a high school student, and that's a sign language with his hands for thank you to the frontline workers who are keeping us safe. I just received this yesterday from an elementary school child in Paris, France. Her worries about the world. And this is a middle school student who's obviously thinking about George Floyd. Apparently she spent hundreds of hours working on this. This became just her obsession and her work and her expression of her caring and her heart in these times. We have written word. This is from a student in Angola. And this is from a New Yorker. Again, when you look at this, the words just are exquisite. I wonder if the sky remembers the taste of gasoline. Wonder if come September, the trees will still be green. She misses the crunch of leaves under her feet. And I just received this yesterday from Cuba. This is how I spend my days in quarantine, playing with them and making sure my cat doesn't eat the bird. Quarantine sucks even more without them. I highly recommend if you go onto Instagram and follow us, and I'll show you the link to do that, at documentar_. You also look at hashtag documentar Havana. They have posted some extraordinary photographs in black and white that show a composite of the 11th and 12th graders and middle school students expressing their experience. I haven't transferred it yet to regular documentar, but under hashtag documentar with the name of the city, you can see more. This is from a student in Staten Island, his vision for hope. So I hope you will really take a moment and follow us on documentar_ on Instagram. I can't speak much to TikTok, just not active there. And we ask people also when we post hashtag documentar in their city, but I do not have a single submission from Los Angeles. So if you're interested in getting a group of youth to experience this, or even individually, in the shared document, there's links on how young people can do this, how they can submit. And you can always email me for more information and how young people can be part of a global documentar experience. We led one last week and we had 50 participants from 24 countries. It was quite exciting. So this is just an example of young people reflecting. And when we give them space and hold space for them, they have much to say and they have many creative and expressive ways to tell us what their experience is. So I'd like you to take a moment in the chat box. Could you just open up the chat box and write for yourself why you think reflection matters? And I know we think of reflection at school, but why do you think it truly matters? Don't press send yet. Let's all fill out our response first, and I'll let you know when to send it. So take a moment in the chat box and just write down for yourself, reflection matters because. I'm going to just give you a moment to put in your answer. Just take a moment. I'm going to apologize now for any typos I have. All right, so at the count of 3, press send. 1, 2, 3, send. We learn, we feel, it slows us down. Oh, that is so true. It creates awareness of the moment. All of these responses, just take a moment and glance at them. They're so important. And we process experience. Otherwise, we're just moving through life and we're just not taking that moment. Solidifies learning. It helps us manage emotional response when a more matter-of-fact response is needed. It connects to ourselves and others. That was my thought. So reflection is really critical, not just for our students, but for ourselves. And it may be challenging these days when there's so much demanded of us to take that time to even breathe, as Johnny was guiding us through, or to pause and reflect. So reflection comes from the word reflexio, which means to either lean back or look backwards. So just take a moment and either lean back or look backward. Just do it physically for a moment, just to invite yourself into that space. Either lean back or look backwards, whatever's good for your physiognomy. Just actually do it physically. When we embody something physically, we just open ourselves up to that experience. I love doing this with youth. They really get it when they just open up. We talk about how when you lean back or you look backwards, you see something new, you stretch, you breathe more deeply, and you might even feel a pain in your neck. It's not that it's always easy or simple, but it connects us with our own bodies and our own moment in time, which is what we're looking for. And one of my favorite quotes I found years ago, it was from a British author: to look backward for a while is to refresh the eye, to restore it, and to render it the more fit for its prime function of looking forward. And that's where we are today, looking back and looking forward. And we need to take that moment in between, in that in-between space, to be present. So I thought quite a bit about reflection. I have actually probably my favorite article I ever wrote was on meaningful reflection, and I'll add that to the document later. It can be found on my website. But in that article, I was thinking about it deeply, and I realized that reflection could be formal and informal. It happens just as you're walking and talking with a friend, or as you're cooking dinner, or as you're just pausing, in any part of our day. And it also can be informative. It can help us learn something or think through something more deeply. It can be generative. It can really stimulate ideas or move us from place to place. And it can be transformative. It can help us have this aha moment where we waken up to a new idea or concept that we missed or hadn't figured out how to process it. So today, as we're about to go into some breakout rooms to discuss these ideas of reflection and how you can reflect in this moment, see what comes up for you. Will it be informative? Will it be generative? Are you in a moment of personal transformation? It's a key way to look and listen, and you might discuss it as part of your conversation. So what we're going to be doing next is we're going to be actually going into small rooms, and Marissa will explain that in a moment. And we came up with these two prompts to think about. And again, these are just prompts. You can go wherever you like, but it's a way to begin. Looking back on the year, what happened and what stands out? And looking back, how do you feel? To me, that's the initial important aspects of reflection. What happened on one side, which is that cognitive thinking aspect, balanced by our emotion or affect of how do you feel? And when I work with youth, I always start with that angle. What happened and how do I feel about it? And being able to put those two together. So Marissa, can you give us a little bit of explanation of how you're going to divide us up and
Yes.
send us to our rooms?
So we'll be going into groups of 3 or 4, and we'll be spending about 20 minutes in the room. This opportunity is just, like Kathy said, to reflect. We're not going to be taking any notes on our shared document. That will be for our next breakout in a little while. So as you enter into your breakout rooms, you can introduce yourselves. And if you like, you can choose a moderator to help keep time. We'll spend about 5 minutes per person answering, or three minutes or so answering these questions. And you can toss the conversation to someone else in your group. And then at the end, some shared reflection time. And we will meet you back out on the other side after that for a whole group reflection. If anyone is struggling with anything logistically with the breakout session, I'll be remaining in the main session if you need support. So without further ado, I'm going to create our breakout rooms. And send you off for about 20 minutes of conversation. I'll give you a heads up when there's about 1 minute left within our spaces. And let's see, please give me a moment. All right, you are off. Oh, sorry, no. Okay, there you are.
Popcorn, talk over each other, it doesn't matter. Just a quick 1 minute, unmute yourselves and just say in one word or 1 or 2 words why this was helpful or meaningful.
Personally, always
Reaffirming.
other groups are
Reaffirming. Reflecting. Time.
Understanding how students feel when we ask them to reflect.
Connecting. I sometimes do that with kids also. I have them all say something at the same time. They think it's hysterical. So I just wanted to try it in Zoom. I've never done it before, but why not? So we'd like to move into the next phase of our time together, being respectful of your time. And we're going to be looking forward. You know, in our group, one of the things were said that, people want to know what to expect next year. And there's so many unknowns. We don't know if we'll be in the same room with kids, half the kids, none of the kids, today, tomorrow, everything kind of chaotic and figuring it out. But we do know that when young people are engaged in service learning, they have a greater sense of purpose, of efficacy, and meaning in their lives. And that we know service learning can take different forms. It can come through our academic classes. We always love when that happens. It can be self-started by youth, or it can be done through co-curricular ways. These days, all of those are legitimate. Everything's legitimate to try out. And so we're going to be hearing from Fu, who's at the Oakwood School, and from Debbie from New York from the Calhoun School, sharing some of their resources and ideas and experiences for about 4 minutes each. And then I'm going to take about 4 minutes and share a couple of other examples from the international school world and some other just regular resources. And then we'll go into breakout rooms again and just do more brainstorming and idea sharing. So that's the plan. So without further ado, Fu, we're going to let you go first, if that's all right with you. Do you have any slides? You're going to share your screen?
Yeah, I'm going to share my screen. I have a couple of slides, and then just I'll just show a couple seconds of some videos from my students. So yeah.
While he's setting it up, just to note that his email is in the shared doc, and we didn't ask him if we could put it there. I just want you to know that. But we assumed he wouldn't mind. What was that?
No problems with that whatsoever.
Well, we assume that because he's a very generous fellow, and we knew that he would be glad to connect with you. So if you have questions, you could follow up directly with him, as well as anybody else who's participating. Go for it, Fu. Tell us what happened.
All right. So we had a pretty good year with community engagement. A lot of engagement. Did some specific work with the middle school and homelessness, and I'll focus on that for the rest of what we're talking about. But some school-wide partnerships, really focused on homelessness overall as a community this year. And as well as doing some work in the high school. Some people had mentioned some work with the Eco Club, and my student Eco Club was invited by our new head of school to help draft our school sustainability plan. So that's the institutional sustainability plan moving forward. So that's a big win, a big coup for that group of students and the amazing work that they've been doing. So I teach an 8th grade community engagement and leadership seminar of sorts. All our 8th graders take it. They take it once a week. It substitutes out their PE period for once a week. And I co-teach it with our middle school dean. And through this course, this is where I essentially teach the stages of service learning and frame around the UN SDGs, the global goals. So this year was obviously a lot different because we started off, we do it during the spring term, and we ended up doing it during right at the onset of the pandemic quarantine. So what we did was we decided to do this kindness campaign, open it up. And what we wanted, and I thought this was great because it was an opportunity to see the nonlinearity of the stages of service learning, because we basically wanted them to start right in the doing aspect of it. And I actually stole from, I think, Tara from, who was one of our sessions from Design for Change. I really like their succinct message of feel, imagine, do, and share. So I used that framework. And so we jumped right into do while we were feeling and imagining, and then did a lot of sharing out. So we started off very simply with commitment. Every week we had the kids do some act of kindness with regard to the pandemic and quarantine in their neighborhood. So we had letters sent out. They would commit to doing positive messaging, providing resources while we're sheltering in place for younger students and for peers as well. And then we were able to move through that and then dovetail with our previous work on homelessness and partner with LA Family Housing and orchestrate a toiletry drive, a remote toiletry drive where kids did so within their neighborhoods and so forth. Our senior projects, also, a lot of them ended up being service oriented and certainly embracing of the moment that we have here. So a lot of them ended up doing Instacart type services. One organization called Mon Ami, which is for specifically geared towards seniors. There was this new organization created by some students in Santa Barbara called Zoomers to Boomers, which was another free service for the elderly and immunocompromised to provide free groceries deliveries to these different groups. And then obviously as things shifted, right as I was getting ready to go into the SDGs, that was when the fear and the movement around Black Lives Matters came forth. And so there was a great opportunity to do work within that as well. And this is kind of the challenge that I gave to our community, looking back and looking ahead of what we are going to do as we look forward, as we probably are likely to stay in this remote mode of learning. How will we respond directly to what is happening around us? How are we going to address issues of the pandemic, of racial injustice, of police brutality, all in this moment? How are we going to capitalize on that? Since we're already teaching and learning differently, what can we do? This is, to me, I see a tremendous opportunity to do great work with teachers and really explore cross-curricular opportunities to engage very directly in service learning, because teachers ask, how am I going to do this? Service learning is clearly one of the answers to do so. And I have some other, I'll just flip through just to show really quickly some of the resources. I know my time is up, so I'm just going to show these really shortly. I think it is. Sorry, I'm just looking for the. So I had, as I had mentioned, I had students sharing their responses through Flipgrid. So this is some of the letters that they wrote. These are examples of what they posted together. And so we sent a barrage of letters to essential workers and first responders and healthcare providers. And they put together some different types of messages that they could write on chalk in the neighborhoods and to engage the kids around them. So I had them produce that, and then this is a package of that some kids put together for educational games for younger kids at our elementary campus. And then I put together a huge list of resources, virtual and personal volunteering that has used that, again, that feel, imagine, do, and share, and some from very simple to more involved ways of engaging, and then also just a huge bank of resources around anti-racist resources. Again, an exhaustive list of media action, collating different resources from around to get the community involved. Everybody had started to really reach out to me during these past couple of months, and so it's been great to be able to share all these different resources with everyone.
Well, that's great, Fu. It'd be great. I don't know if you can have links that we can go back and look at some of these great lists you've had, or if they're internal to your school.
Absolutely. No, I'm more than happy to share them outwardly. I will pass them along to Marissa to share out to everyone.
Great, because we could put them on the Google Doc for everybody, and then they can enjoy the resources that you.
That's great. It's wonderful. You've really done obviously a lot of good thinking, and the youth initiative is also fantastic. And Todd has asked you to share a link about the Feel, Imagine, Do, and Share example.
Sure.
Add a link for that.
Design for Change. Yeah, I'll pass that along as well. And yeah, what has been great is also just telling the kids, like activism right now, a lot of it looks like this, right? Everybody's stuck at home. So, the work that they're doing is just as significant as most of the other work, outside of being out there and protesting it. And I think they really embrace that within the moment. And it's been pretty gratifying over the past several weeks.
That's great. I really appreciate you sharing it all. Debbie, how's your computer doing? Can you pop up and give us some work? And we asked Debbie because she and I have been talking over these months, and she again has been putting together a lot of resources and ideas for her school. So Debbie, take it away. We can't hear you, Debbie, so make sure you unmute.
Sorry about that. Seems like it's working, so we'll see if I can share what I want to share. But I just wanted to say first that, we've all been talking about how it's going to be so challenging going back, and we don't know, how we're going to be, what we're going to be doing, remote, in person, hybrid. But, it's just that the key, I feel, is really to develop relationships and partnerships with the people in the community, with organizations in the community. If you already have those relationships built, then you can, ask them if they can do this online with you and come speak to the kids remotely. And if you don't have relationships yet, go out and form those, not go out, but go out and form those relationships, and, just try to find people that you can work with in any way that we have to work. And one of the things that Kathy said to me, which I think is so true, is you don't have to be the expert. You just have to be able to find the expert. And I really like that a lot. So I asked her if I could quote her on that. And Matthew Budd, who's with us today, he facilitates the New York Service Learning Network, and we've been meeting occasionally. Hi, Matt. And so that has really been such a supportive group. And we started to put together a document of all these ideas, like you all are doing. So I started out small, and I just had a few things on my document, and then took a lot of ideas from the other people in the network group. And so I haven't put the document on, or my list on Kathy's document yet, on the shared document, but I will. And feel free to take anything, any and all ideas. So I'm just going to show you the list really quickly. Hopefully this will work. Whoops. Here we go. So this I sent out to all the students. I work with mostly upper school students, but I also work cross-divisionally with lower and middle school. And so I tried to put together a list that I could send out to all families for all ages. But then there are some things where, so this is just the general list. And then we get to, here are summer virtual volunteer internship programs that I found. And then I have a list of online wish lists and fundraisers, and then advocacy and social justice. I said middle and upper school because I think it's most appropriate for them. And I really asked the students to help to put this together, as well as the teachers. And then I get so many emails from organizations. So I'm constantly adding to this list, constantly revising it. I did want to just highlight a couple of things. So I worked with an organization, or actually a program called Kids for Positive Change. And we started working in person, and then quickly had to switch to remote learning. But what is so amazing about the woman's name is Camille Lacat, and she started this program where it's called Choose a Platform program. And kids choose an environmental or social justice platform topic and develop community outreach projects to reach, teach, and inspire kids and adults to take positive action. But what's so amazing is not only does she have unlimited resources and she goes above and beyond, but she let us utilize her website as a platform. So the kids did flyers about all their different topics. They were in think tank teams, and each team developed a flyer. Some teams developed websites, videos, digital artwork, slideshows, and social media posting. And I can't tell you what a savior this was for me, because I had no clue how I was going to go about doing this. And it was just really, really incredible. So she's not a nonprofit, but she will work with you. And then she ended up doing one of my clubs, one of my community action clubs, and we did it with the middle school action club, where she did like a little workshop with us. And she has a rooster, and it's called Bree Kind to People, and Bree and Me Rooster. So it was really great. And then another organization, and I know my time is limited, but I just wanted to show you this, City Arts Pieces for Peace. And by the way, Camille and Kids for Positive Change are in Ohio, so it doesn't matter. You can utilize her, even she's not even in New York. But a lot of these are New York, but you can find, these are just examples. But City Arts Pieces for Peace workshops you can do. They are in New York, but they work with schools all over the country and all over the world. And they do these tile-size pieces of paper, and kids draw what peace means to them. And you can sign up as an individual, or you can sign up as a group. And kids create these amazing tiles. And here are some examples, but they have an online exhibition, and you can see each country has, their own little exhibit, and each school within that country has an exhibit. And then they do in-person exhibits as well. But it's just really great. They have a template, and they'll come to your school, but if you're not in New York, you would be able to have it done virtually. And there's so many more, but yeah, that's it.
She asked me to let her know when she hit time. I normally don't do that, but she asked. So, I'm going to jump on for a few minutes and share just a few things, knowing that we want to get you into your breakout rooms. So give me a moment. I'll just set it up, and I'll get you just a few other ideas. So in Shanghai, I just want to mention, this is at Dulwich College, Shanghai. This is just an example how in the primary school, they were going to do field experiences to have students go out and do work in the environment. And when they couldn't, and they had to flip to at-home learning, the students shifted what they were doing. They ended up writing a cookbook altogether about recipes that they made for the entire community to help do more of a Meatless Monday concept. And this is Anthony's child with a bee home, a bee hotel that was made for the backyard. So how do you turn things they would do in external places into things they can do and learn from at home? So that was one example. This I just really want to have you take note of. And if you see on the bottom, it says Instagram, follow it, Sustainable Success Project, and YouTube. These are two high school girls from Concordia International School in Shanghai. And they started this last August. And it's all about student well-being. And what some people call soft skills, I call essential skills. This is some of the best material I've seen on well-being made by any age. I don't care, adults, PhDs, this is incredible. So please follow them and let them know that you're following them. They're amazing young women. I could put you in touch with them if you want to have them talk to your students. They would be glad to do it. So they created all these resources. They communicate through YouTube and also through Instagram. And these are some of the topics they work on. And with each one of these topics, they have multiple slides that explain how to really do these things well. And these are more recent setups. They did one of the best examples about non-Black international students in China, what we can do to support Black Lives Matter. Are these issues you think kids could relate to? I mean, I do. I really do. And then each one of these, they have like 5 or 6 slides or more to help young people understand the issues, resources, ways to learn more, and ways to incorporate these into their life. So please check this out. It's a phenomenal example of high quality service learning initiated by students. Another example internationally is, and I put this link in the shared document, is in the International School Lausanne. They have a website called Adventures from Home with all different tabs: do good, nature, well-being, ways families or youth can take initiatives. And I think this is something we need to look at. We're at a pivotal moment where young people can do things at home with their families, and that doesn't have to stop even if we do go back to school. Some really good resource ideas. New York City has a service at home resource on Generation NYC website, and my team actually helped put these together. Mask making, voting matters, greening New York City, but these you can translate to anywhere. But what I really want to say is, like, solidarity with immigrant communities does not have to necessarily mean online, doing things in person, learning about the issues in your community. We have a lot of immigrant organizations in Los Angeles. We can partner with them, like Debbie said, the partnerships, and then take action by learning and then getting ready to take action when the time is right. So these are some resources. Everything is listed on the website. So I blasted through that because I want to make sure you can get to your small groups. And in your small groups, we'd like to encourage a few things about recording on the shared document, but these are the prompts. What ideas do you have, maybe stimulated or sparked by the conversations you've heard today? What questions remain and what support do you need? We'd love to collect this information on the shared document so that we can better serve this community of educators. So please, as we work today in the small groups, someone take notes on that shared document for each speaker so that we can really find out what's going on. Marissa, I know we have a lot we're trying to cover. Could you share with us how to get going and how much time we're going to have?
Sure. I think we're gonna stick with about 15 minutes because our groups are 3 to 4. That seemed to work for the last section, 15 to 20 minutes. And we are still in groups of 3 to 4. I've reposted the shared document for everyone lower in the chat, as well as the breakout room prompts. And after you have gone into the breakout rooms, please remember to just first add in your own personal information, name, school, email, and then we can assign a scribe to take notes for each other, toss the conversation along, and help keep each other on track with time. We'll spend about 3 minutes discussing those questions and then opening it up to tossing it back and forth, ideas and resources together. And we will see you back here on the other side. I'll be here if you need any technical support. I'm going to go ahead and open the rooms. Hi, Donna.
Hi, Marissa. Oh, thanks. Wow, it's just been crazy. This is great. This is really good. Lisa, we can just talk for a few minutes, right?
Yeah, and then if you want, you're going to be in a breakout room with Kelly and Linda and Shelly.
Okay. Oh, Shelly's there too. Okay. Yeah. And I was with Kelly and Linda before, but I can always rejoin. Lisa, it was interesting because Linda and Kelly were pretty positive about outcomes from this year. Like, especially Linda was really, really challenged. And wasn't tech and didn't know this, and she just kind of jumped in and went for it and was very rewarded and felt accomplished by it. Lisa was nearly in tears. She said it was so hard, it was so frustrating for her, and
oh wow, I was expecting the opposite. I was expecting that you were going to say somebody else was having.
No.
It looks like some groups were really immersed within the conversation and didn't have a chance to take notes, which is absolutely fine. we encourage you to go back if you have a minute to share your process in the note space or any resources that you talked about that others want to follow up with, because we do make these shared documents available on our website for everybody to go back to at further notice. And it does help us discover what everybody's collective needs are and what we can offer going forward into the future. So thank you.
I think we have time to hear highlights. We can't hear exactly the full conversation you had because obviously that would be too long. But we've how many breakout rooms today? 4?
4.
4. So would somebody who was in breakout room 1 be willing to share just a minute of highlights? Just tell us a couple of things so that will entice us to go look at your shared document with your notes. Somebody from room 1 who would like to share out?
We nominate food.
Who you're nominated?
Yeah, we're I think we all of our concerns were around what is it going to look like, the unknown of what it's going to look like, and just kind of how we can pull resources together to engage the community, this alone together kind of situation that we find ourselves in, and how we can pull together. And we talked about some different resources that are out there, and a lot of the virtual pivots like Loido's in our group. So what Tree People has done with the Learn at Home program. And then I posted links to my docs of links that I shared earlier. So you can take a look at that on our page. We're actually under group 4. Yeah, just the concern. And then really what are we going to do about the in-person programs that, we have had in place, and how we're going to transition into whatever it's going to look like.
Okay, well, I was actually in group 2, but I'm not going to be the one talking because I was with Todd and Philip, and wow, we just got off on a roll. So who among the 2 of you want to give a shout out to what we talked about?
I could do it.
Great.
Go ahead if you want to.
I was going to talk about you, really. So yeah, I would just say Philip just came up with this idea of story core, which is really around basically creating stories around interviews with real people. So it's connecting students with people, and it's a fantastic idea. And I think what I wanted to say is I want to bring up how logistically, depending on where you are, what school you're in. I happen to be in Myanmar where technology is not as handy. Just trying to figure out logistically how to make these interviews happen and so on was really interesting for me to just take these ideas and try to put them in the new context of COVID. And that's what it's all about. I think if we take anything we're doing, you can try to find a way to logistically make it work and simplify. I think Kathy mentioned, bring it down to, instead of having everybody interview somebody, maybe groups of 6 interview one person and so on. So it's make it simpler instead of, not so complex, and making it work. So Philip, do you have anything to add to that?
No, that was great. Thank you.
Oh, no, we're not letting you off the hook. One of the things that Phil talked about, which I must shout out because it is really fabulous, was this whole idea of connecting with your alumni. Philip, tell us what you're doing with your alumni. Just, you've got to shout it out for everyone.
Okay, so all of my juniors and rising seniors are doing service internships this summer. Not necessarily service internships or service. And I connected with all our alumni over the last 10 years and asked for if they could open up opportunities for our rising seniors to do remote internships. So I have students, former students of mine, who are now in the world of work all over the world. One's working for the government of Peru, one is working in Belgium, and they are offering incredible service and internship opportunities to our rising seniors. So use your alumni. I was amazed. I have so many extra internships available that I didn't use because the alumni just came back in force.
Wow. That's just such a big thing. Like, check what's going on with your alumni, grab them. And also grab the people who are uncertificated staff at your school who have so much to share, so many stories, so many narratives. And these are also populations that we often do not connect with. And I think that's a really critical population to connect with anytime, but especially in these times. So room number 3, who was there and a couple of people have been posting they have to run, take care of a dog or do something else. So who's in room number 3? I hope someone's here from 3. Who was in room number 3? We could
was,
find
I think it
those.
was us. I think it was Johnny, myself,
Yep.
and Debbie.
Yes.
Correct.
Right?
Yep.
Of the three of you, who's going to tell us what happened?
I can do it.
Debbie? Okay,
Debbie,
Johnny?
you want?
Johnny, go
Okay,
for it.
that's fine. Happy to do it. We actually talked a little bit more in detail about the CAS, Creativity, Activity, and Service program that DC uses. And that was very interesting to me, that these aspects of moving your body and engaging physically and creatively, using your mind and that service, they're all interwoven. And there was this idea of really diving very deeply into all of these things. So a full CAS program or has to do it over 18 months. Is that right?
Exactly, indeed. Yes,
A
18
new
months.
engagement
With a lot of
component.
reflection. Mm.
And then we talked about how reflection is often the most difficult part for students to engage in initially, and that there's a lot of sort of how do we get them to understand that this is important and to engage with it willingly, but that once the reflection process is complete, the students typically share that it's the most meaningful part of the process
Yes,
for them.
interesting indeed. Yes, yes, indeed. A perfect summary, Johnny.
I just want to mention, for those who aren't familiar, CAS is a program of the International Baccalaureate Organization. And this CAS program is done in grades 11 and 12 in schools that adopt the diploma program of the IB. And I just have to say, I help write the CAS guide. So I can quote it.
Oh,
thinker.
Oh, how lovely.
So it's wonderful to hear. When I hear other people talk about it, I just light up, because it's like, and I wrote the whole section on reflection. So if you read the article I mentioned earlier on meaningful reflection, it will help tremendously connect how the different processes of reflection in CAS. And so I love hearing that you talked about it. It's a great opportunity.
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
I'm happy to hear that you're involved with making the latest CAS guide. It's almost done, I think, isn't it?
Oh, the newest one I haven't done. That one, I'll be curious what happened. It was the one that you've been using now. So I'll be really curious what happens. So was there a group 4, or do we have 3 rooms?
There should be one more.
Was there an additional breakout room?
One more.
Janet, were you in another breakout room that wasn't referenced yet? You were?
Maybe Linda?
I was in with Fu, so
Maybe
mine was in
Linda
there.
and Shelley, was it?
I think it was in 3 or 1.
Linda or Shelley, were you in a different room, or have you been covered?
We're in a different breakout room, and a couple schools in our group had international students. So we were talking about caring for each other before we even reached out to our own community, just ways that our own community could connect with. A lot of students went back to China during this time and don't know if they'll come back. So or if they were participating in distance learning, that the timing was so crazy. They're doing AP work with everybody else, but it's midnight their time or something like that. So they were talking, I can't remember who in our group was mentioned the family pods again, how important that was, and just how you were trying to reach out. And because one of the schools had students who get bussed in, they couldn't really do a lot of like even drive-bys or, you know, we know you're here, we're connected, because they pull from so many different zip codes that it just logistically, there were a lot of challenges, but they wanted to make sure there were systems in place that the kids were not forgotten, and their social and emotional well-being was being attended to, as well as whatever long distance academic learning they were doing. Was there more? Kelly, I don't know if she's there or.
Kelly had to go take care of her new puppy.
Oh, okay.
So a few people have had to bounce off. And again, I want to be thankful that you've this group was able to stay for the full 90 minutes. And probably we're going to need to wrap up. And we, Donna and Johnny, if Johnny's still available, and Marissa and I will stay on for another 15 minutes to chat. I'll put on the link for the reflection article as well while we're, who's going to lead the just closing? I'm going to take a moment.
Johnny, here.
I'm happy to do that. So I like to finish just by moving the body a little bit, because we've been very still for some time now. So Adjust your seat so you have a little bit of space in your spine and room to expand your rib cage. Let the breath out through your mouth. Empty the lungs. Inhale, raise the hands high overhead and let your chin come up toward the sky as you fill the lungs. And then exhale, let the hands come slowly down to either side as you let the breath out through the mouth. One more time, let's try that. Inhale, fill the lungs. Let the hands float overhead. Let the gaze come up. And as you reach the top of your inhale, slowly with a controlled manner, let it go through the mouth. Hands come back down. And we're going to bring our elbows in front of us together to meet if you can. If you cannot, you can hug yourself by wrapping your arms around yourself. If this doesn't engage any stretch, you can always twist the arms around one another. Lift the elbows up and away from your center, and then let your chin drop towards your chest as you exhale. And that should give you a nice stretch between your shoulder blades. Even if you're just hugging yourself, letting your chin drop and inhaling into the back of your body should provide a nice stretch in the back, right between the shoulder blades and the spine. Exhale, let it all go. And if you have twisted, try to switch sides. If you haven't twisted, that's okay. You can just leave the elbows together. Or if you're hugging yourself, switch the grip of your arms. And then inhale, fill up, lift the elbows. Exhale, drop the chin to the chest. Let the back round. And then with the back rounded, you can inhale one more time, really expand the stretch. Exhale, let it all go, relax, let the chin come to neutral. And now finally, we're just gonna do a neck circle. So drop your chin to your chest as you exhale, hands to either side, relaxed. Right ear to right shoulder as you start to inhale. And then the chin slowly points towards the sky as the inhale finishes. Begin your exhale as you drop your left ear to your left shoulder. Very gently finishing the exhale as you drop your chin to your chest in the center here. One more round of breath going the opposite direction. So inhale, left ear, left shoulder. Finishing the inhale, bring the chin to the sky, creating a circle, drawing a circle with the chin. Exhale, allow the right ear to come down to the right shoulder. And finishing the exhale, slowly chin to chest. Inhale back to a neutral gaze. Deep breath in. Fill up your lungs all the way. Sip as much air as you can. And flutter the lips if you can on your breath out. Very nice. Thanks, everybody.
So for a quick little finale here, could everybody just open the chat box just for a second? And just put in something that as a takeaway from today, just up to 5 words. What's a takeaway? And if you have a question that you're leaving with, a quick takeaway and a question, and I'll do a countdown from 10 and we'll all send it at the same time. A takeaway. And if you have a question, post it in there. And then we'll send it at the count of 3, 2, 1, send. Ideas, technology at home, StoryCorps, feel, imagine, to share. It's vital to be together. I'm going to agree with that. I think it's really valuable. Well, it's wonderful to be with everybody. Donna, do you want to just, we didn't get to say hi to you.
I just want to thank, well, especially thank Kathy and Marissa and Johnny and Fu and Debbie and all of you who are still here and those who have participated. This is such a sacred, special time for us as educators to come together. I hope you value this. I look forward to reconnecting with you guys. We might do one during summer. We'll certainly do one before we start in fall. We'll be sending out kind of just a brief survey because we need your input and directions on what you need. ECSL is always here to serve what you need most. And you gifted, lovely, caring, kind people make the world a better place to be, even though we're all in. So ECSL, we are each other's resources. So let's continue sharing. And amen to everything that's happened in the last 6 months.
May I say something?
Absolutely.
I just wanted to say that I'm extremely happy that I was so privileged to be a part of this webinar, because I'm still getting used to Zoom and all this, you know, and I would really like to thank all of you. I mean, such a group of wonderful people. Thank you so much. I've learned a lot.
Oh, great.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, we love having international folks here, and today we had a few, and sometimes we've even more. But it just enriches all of us to have people from New York. We often have public educators here as well, so we love when we all get together and share our best thinking and are good comrades and helpful to each other. So it's really fabulous.
Thank you very much indeed, all of you.
Thank you.
Right, stay in touch. You have our email address. We'll answer anything we can answer, connect you to whomever you need to be connected to, and let's stay strong together. So,
okay, thank you very
Bye,
much.
everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Take care. Bye.
Bye-bye.